Hello everyone, welcome back to the VMware vSphere 8 tutorial series. I am BB Patnaik. In our previous lesson, we learned about ESXi architecture, VM kernel services, and how an administrator connects to an ESXi host. In today's lesson, we are going to move from theory to practical learning. So we are going to install VMware ESXi 8 step by step using VMware Workstation. So let's begin by looking at what we are going to cover in this lesson. We will understand how ESXi installation has evolved, VMware product portfolio, understanding the difference between ESXi installation and vCenter Server Appliance, prepare a nested ESXi lab VMware Workstation, configure virtual hardware required for this lab, install ESXi 8 from ESXi installer ISO image, then we will configure the management network, and finally we will access ESXi Host Client. So let's take a quick look at how VMware hypervisor architecture has evolved over the years. Okay, in 1999, I told you before, VMware launched its first product. Okay, that is called VMware Workstation. VMware Workstation in 1999, and it allows users to run multiple operating system on a single hardware or single platform. Okay, so VMware Workstation we can use to install multiple operating system. Okay, multiple operating system. In 2001, VMware introduced ESX. Okay, this is ESX. In that time, I told you before, there was a service console integrated in ESX. Okay, so later VMware removed this service console and redesigned its architecture. So in 2009, VMware launched a new platform that is called VMware vSphere. So VMware vSphere provide a modern, comprehensive and integrated solution compared to previous VMware solution. Like previous service console was there, now service console removed and VMware redesigned its architecture and comes with VMware ESXi. Then this ESXi continue to evolve through different vSphere releases. Okay, including vSphere 4, vSphere 5, okay, vSphere 6, vSphere 7, vSphere 8, okay. So these are the releases. Then what is vSphere? Okay, so vSphere means it is ESXi and its components. So its components mean what? vCenter server, vCenter server. Okay, so vSphere means ESXi plus its component is vCenter. The important point for us is that ESXi remains the bare metal hypervisor that runs directly on the physical hardware. Okay, so let's see what are the products VMware offers. So VMware offers various of products. So let's see what are those products. Okay, so VMware offers VMware vSphere, VMware Workstation Fusion, VMware vSAN, VMware NSX, okay, VMware Horizon, VMware Cloud Foundation, VMware Tanzu, VMware Live Recovery. It was before known as SRX. M, SRM, SRM, Site Recovery Manager. Now its name has changed to Live Site Recovery. So vSphere is the most popular virtualization product platform with ESXi hypervisor and vCenter server. Okay, clear? So what is VMware Workstation? So VMware Workstation is a desktop virtualization solution. Okay, VMware Workstation is a type 2 hypervisor. I told you before, it is a type 2 hypervisor. Now there is another important change that we need to understand, and this is related to vCenter server. vCenter server. In earlier VMware environments, vCenter server, like before up to 6.5 version, that time vCenter server installed on Windows Server operating system. In that model, Windows Server act as the operating system and vCenter server was installed on top of it. On top of it, we install vCenter server. Okay, but in modern vSphere environment, VMware uses vCenter Appliance, vCenter server appliance. What is that? It is a pre-configured virtual machine. Pre-configured. Okay, and that exactly what we are going to do in this lesson. We will take the ESXi image, ESXi 8 ISO image, and will install on VMware Workstation. Okay. So vCenter Server Appliance, also called vCenter Appliance, also called VCSA, VCSA, vCenter Server Appliance. It is a pre-configured virtual machine. Okay, it is a very lightweight VM. Okay, and the operating system which is running in this VM, PhotonOS. This is our lab environment. To build this lab, I am going to use my laptop instead of a physical server. Why? Because a physical server, enterprise server, is an enterprise server, can cost several lakhs of rupees, which is not practical for a basic learning lab. Got my point, na? So instead, I will use VMware Workstation on my laptop. So inside VMware Workstation, we will create virtual machine. And inside that virtual machine, we will install VMware ESXi 8. Okay. So this approach is called nested virtualization. Which virtualization? Nested virtualization. Okay. We will install ESXi 1 and other we will install ESXi 2. Okay. Once ESXi is installed, we can use this virtual ESXi host as our learning environment to create and manage virtual machine. So what is the good thing about that? We do not need an expensive physical server to build our VMware lab. Okay? Got it? So this physical computer, just imagine, this is my laptop. This is my laptop. In my laptop, I will create this environment. Okay? So this is the environment we are going to build today. So my laptop, consider this is this physical computer is my laptop. It is Windows 11 64-bit operating system, Intel i5 2 GHz processor, 32 GB RAM, 500 GB SSD, VMware Workstation 17 I am using to build this lab, and Intel VT and AMD enabled. Any of this, it is the requirement to build this lab. Okay, my processor is from Intel. Okay, in nested ESXi VM, what will do? In we will build our first ESXi host. Okay, first ESXi 1, where I will be assigning 12 GB of RAM, 2 core CPU, 40 GB disk space, one virtual NIC, and CD/DVD that connected to the ESXi ISO. That ISO is vSphere 8. vSphere 8. That ISO will mount it from here. Okay. Okay. So this is VMware Workstation version 17. Here we will create our first ESXi host. Okay. So we'll go here, create a new virtual machine. Okay. We'll go with typical. Next. Here I have already downloaded the ISO image. Okay. Here is the path of the ISO image. I will go with the default setting, click next. Then I will give the name of the virtual machine. Here ESXi 1. ESXi 1. Okay. Then location where I will put those virtual machines. Okay. Let me browse. VMware Lab ESXi 1. Okay. Then next. Then I give it for installation. I will keep 20 GB drive. Later we will add one more drive later on. But for installation purpose, I am selecting 20 GB. Then next, customize hardware, memory minimum 8 GB to install the that ESXi. Okay, later on we will increase it. Processor 1, number of processor core 2. Okay. You can see here there is a checkbox, virtual Intel VT VX is enabled, virtual machine. Okay. Okay. Close. Finish. So now we will it will boot from ESXi ISO image. Okay. This is the first ESXi installation screen. VMware ESXi 803 11th generation Intel R Core i5 processor I am using, and I assigned 8 GB of memory to this virtual machine. Where we are installing the ESXi hypervisor. Okay. Welcome to VMware ESXi 803 installer. Okay. Now we have to press enter so that it will continue. We will press enter. Now we have to select the end user license agreement. Okay. So what we will do, we will press F11 from the keyboard. Okay. I did. Okay. Now we will select the installation disk because we have assigned 20 GB disk for the installation purpose. Okay. Okay. I will press enter to continue. Keyboard layout, I will go with default. Then here we will provide the password for root. Okay. Enter to continue. Okay. Now it is asking me confirm installation. Escape to cancel, F9 to back, and F11 to install. So what we'll do? We will go with we will press F11 to continue the installation. F11. Okay. Now see how fast the installation is. Installation progress 32%, 35%, because it is a lightweight hypervisor, So the installation is very fast, very quick. Okay. The installation ESXi 803 has been installed successfully. Okay. Now remove the installation media before rebooting. Okay, installation done. What we will do? We will reboot. So what we will do? I will press enter. Rebooting server. Okay, installation is done and we arrive at ESXi direct console user interface. Okay, this is called DCUI, direct console user interface. This console gives us the basic access to ESXi host. Okay, here we can view the information. What? ESXi version. It is mentioned over. ESXi 803 VM kernel release build 240225110. This is the build number. Okay. And VMware Inc. incorporation. The next line is 11th generation Intel R Core i5 processor, 2.4 GHz, 8 GB memory. To manage this host, go to http 169.254.112.144. Okay, this is the IP which is received from DSCP, but we don't want this. We will assign a static IP to manage this host. Okay, so what we'll do now, we will configure the ESXi host. Okay, what we'll do, we will press F2. Okay, password is vmware@123#. So here what we will do, we will configure the appropriate IP address, subnet mask, default gateway. Okay, so let's do that. .1.2. Okay, press enter. Okay, 192.168.1.25, that IP address I have given. Okay, now you can see, to manage this host, go to https 192.168.1.25. Okay, so this will access through our browser. Okay, from laptop I will now try to access this IP address. Okay, on this. Okay, you can see now it will work. Proceed with username root, password password vmware@123#. Login. Okay, now we can see, just uncheck this VMware customer experience because I don't want to join this experience. See, this is a beautiful console of ESXi host. This is called VMware. This is the vSphere client, vSphere ESXi host client. Okay, this is the dark and blue screen. So from here we can manage the ESXi host, view resources, configure networking, configure storage, everything from here. Okay, and here we will create virtual machines. If you found this lesson helpful, please like the video, subscribe the channel and share it with anyone who is learning VMware. Thank you for watching. I am BB Patnaik and I will see you in the next lesson.